Hello my loves and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Caitlin and I'm here to talk to you about all things reading, writing, and publishing. So today I wanted to do a writing vlog just because I have a couple of things to announce and say. And so let's start off with that. If you follow me on Twitter, then you know that I have started querying my summer whip. And so with that and with being about halfway through NaNoWriMo and still drafting Robin Whip, I wanted to kind of give an update about where I'm at in my own writing and just talk to you guys about your projects as well. So, querying, that's, the word that everyone hears, and I feel like not that many people talk about the beginning of it as they talk about the end of it. So I just wanted to tell you a little bit about my process and how I decided to query and what that's been like since I started on Saturday. So if you don't know, Summer Whip is a young adult contemporary novel about finding first love and healing from major trauma. It spans the course of one summer. It's set in 2017 and it's a glittering summer romance. I'm absolutely in love with it and I can't wait to see where this process goes. I started writing it when I was 18, which was 4 years ago now, and it's really been a process and a journey. It's changed so much since I first started writing it. And now that I've finally gotten to the point of querying, it just feels like this monumental milestone I've finally reached. So how did I know I was ready to query? I kind of didn't. So I've drafted it multiple times, I've reworked it, revised it, all of that, did edits, sent it to beta readers, got wonderful feedback that helps me improve it, and also wonderful feedback about where it was at its own process. And I've kind of been going back and forth since the beginning of the year about what I wanted to do now that I was done with editing and it was out to beta readers. I wanted to add in a couple more scenes and I kept going back and forth on this, and I think I was just stopping myself from doing it and taking that step forward. As you know, it is huge and it's a scary process and it's a step forward, and so I just decided I had my query letter ready, I had it looked at by a friend, I've written the book, I've had it out to beta readers. There's no reason why I shouldn't step forward and query when I know that's what I've been working towards. Back at the beginning of the year, that was one of my goals I made for this year, is I wanted to start querying, and my goal was to query in April. And now that we're halfway through it, I said, okay, now is the time to do it. So I sent my first query, and I've only done 2 currently just because you don't want to send a ton at once and then get feedback and find out that something's wrong with your query letter or something's wrong with your manuscript that's not working. So I always recommend starting small and not sending too many at once, which is something I'll talk about in a later video too when we talk more in depth about querying. So for this one, it was really nerve-wracking when I first sent it. I almost second-guessed myself. I almost didn't do it just because I was so nervous about it. But I did send it, and after that, I've just been thinking about it so much since then. That's one of those things I recommend you have friends that kind of remind you that this is a long process. My friends are amazing, and they're in this process too, so it's been really fun. And I feel like I finally am on the other side of writing. You write for so long and eventually reach the point to where you have to kind of pitch it and sell it to others. And if you want to get traditionally published, this is the other side of that. This is the other side of drafting. This is the point you reach where you go forward and you choose what you want to do next. Now for me, I want to be traditionally published. That's always been my goal, and that's been my goal with this book in particular, is because this is much different than what my brand is now. It's much different than what I normally write now, but it's the book of my heart. It's the one I want to help people with, and it just means a lot to me to see it be out in the world and hopefully get traditionally published and find a home for it. So that is where I'm at with querying. Just because I just sent my first 2 queries on Saturday, I really don't expect to hear much back right now. The 2 agents I did query, they do have a response time that's rather quicker than other agents of usually a couple of weeks. So you'll probably find me checking my email a lot. I'm just kind of waiting to see and, working on my Robin Whip and talking to my friends and just trying not to think about it too much until I get to that point. But it really is exciting to see where this is going to go and how it's going to turn out, because I know there's so many different routes this could go. Publishing is hard. Writing is hard. Querying is hard. I feel like this is things we know, but we don't talk about it too much. Everyone kind of just tells you it's hard and good luck, and then that's it. But really, you have to talk about it. I think it's good to talk about where you start and where you end up, and just all the moments in between, because I know there's going to be so much that happens in this process, and I'm really excited to share that and just talk to you and see where it goes and talk about everyone else's journeys too. because we're all going to have different ones as we go down this road. So that's all for querying. As far as drafting goes, we are halfway through NaNoWriMo, and I'm not quite where I want to be with my word count, but I'm also approaching finals at school. A lot is going on, but I'm usually writing between 800 to 1,000 words, 500 to 800. It depends on the day. That works for me. It's not very high. Some people might think that's way too low, but it works. It's what's getting the story out. I'm still having a lot of fun. Every time I sit down and write, I kind of just pick a scene I want to focus on and then go with that, because it's not slowing me down and I'm not having trouble starting, which is the good part. Because sometimes when I was writing Summer Whip, there would be parts that I feel like I was just analyzing it too much, and with Summer Whip, I wanted it to tell this intricate story, but I was holding myself back because I felt like there were parts that I couldn't tell as well, and I didn't know how to approach that. With Robin Whip, because it's fantasy, I'm just letting it go. I'm not letting myself stop. I'm not hesitating. I'm just going for it. And then I'll see where it turns out, and I'll revise it afterwards, because if it's not perfect, that's fine. I'm telling the story for me, and I'm telling it to revise it in the future. It's just a starting point. So I think I'm about 8,000 words in. I wanted to get to 10,000 by, actually probably closer to 9,000 if I think about it. I wanted to get to 10,000 by the end of the weekend. I did not do that because for some reason my brain, after I started querying, just turned off and it didn't want to write anymore. And so I kind of took the weekend off, focused on homework, focused on cleaning, and re-grounded myself and just sat with it. And that's totally fine. You don't have to write every day, as I've said before. You don't even have to write every week if you're not able to. It's just whatever gets you through that process and whatever works for you. I'm hoping this week I'll be able to jump back in and kind of build my routine back up and balance it with approaching finals too, just because those are coming up. And so I'm having a lot of fun with it. I've been writing mostly action scenes, or mostly like really emotional scenes where a lot is going on and there's a lot of talk between characters and tension and conflict. And it's really fun because these are the scenes that are telling me how these characters interact with each other, but also how they're different. And with that, it's letting me build up the plot more and figure out the conflict. And I've started thinking ahead to books 2 and 3 because I do want this to be a series. Originally, when I started drafting this, I wanted it to be a duology with just 2 books. And now I've changed it to 3 just because I want to explore another fairy tale retelling. And I'm not going to tell which one it is. It is in book 1 as well, but I kind of want to keep that under wraps right now. So with Robin Hood, it's going to expand into more. And so I've been thinking about how I want books 2 and 3 to develop and what their beginning and ends look like as far as the plot, structure, and arcs and all that. And it's really just been fun. I'm loving this process. I'm loving everyone I get to talk to about their own journeys in querying and drafting through NaNoWriMo. And so it's been a really good time, honestly. So that's the update with my writing. I'm still drafting Robin Whip. I'm querying now Summer Whip, which is a process, and I can't wait to tell you more about that. And I'm looking ahead to the summer when I want to draft another book called Murder-Wise Whip. If you follow me on Twitter, you've probably seen me post or talk about this a little bit. It's a sapphic dark academia book. I'm planning for it to be adult, so that's a little bit different because I normally only write YA, but I had this idea and it's really sticking with me. And so I'm going to try to draft that over the summer as well. So I've kind of been planning my writing in basically month blocks. So I think it's about 4 months I've been working on, well, will be by the end of May, I'll be working on Robin Whip. And then over the summer, 3 months for Murder-Wise Whip. And then in the fall, I might start a new whip, or I might come back to Robin Whip and revise it. We'll just see how this year goes and how everything plays out with my writing. So that's the update, and I'm super excited to share more with you. Please make sure you're following me on Twitter because that's where I do most of my talking about with my writing process and what's going on and any updates. I will definitely post my Twitter in the links below. And as always, please let me know your own writing process, where you're at in your projects, or if you're thinking ahead to new projects, or if you're querying and drafting right now, or any number of things that you have going on. I would love to hear about it, and I would definitely love to talk to you about it as well. And I can't wait. You can connect with me on Twitter, or you can comment below and let me know what's going on with you. As always, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you like this video. I would love to talk to you more about writing. And next week, we're going to talk about second drafts. So if you've written a first draft and you've just gotten done with it and you're ready to jump into a second draft, we're going to talk about that process, how long you should wait in between the first and second draft when you begin the second draft, and what goes into a second draft. I absolutely cannot wait. As always, stay safe, well, and radiant, and I will see you next week. Bye, loves!